Welcome back to Totally Pointless.
I'm GT.
And I'm TJ. Just thrilled to be here.
Well, today, we are going back to the dating scene.
No.
Yes, specifically over 40. Buckle up, because this is going to get bumpy.
More like a dumpster fire.
I'm stocking up on wine now.
Smart move. But before we get into all that, we want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Payment Solutions. You know, if you're a business owner in North America and tired of credit card processing fees taking a bite out of your profits, Payment Solutions can hook you up with way better rates. And customer service, that makes you feel like an actual human.
Yeah, give them a call.
Okay, so back to the dating scene. You're over 40, back in the game.
Right.
And suddenly it feels like you've stepped into some weird reality show.
Right, the kind where everyone's wearing a costume and crying a lot.
And they're all obsessed with their cats.
Yes, all of that. It's like someone spiked the punch bowl of life with crazy pills and everyone over 40 took a big gulp.
What's really interesting here is this sense of chaos. It's actually a reflection of the challenges and pressures that come with dating later in life.
So it's not just me then. It really is that strange out there.
Absolutely. There are a lot of factors at play. You know, shifting priorities, baggage from past relationships, and a whole lot of societal expectations about being single over 40.
Yeah, and don't forget the cats.
Ah, yes. The infamous support crew of feline companions.
You know, one of our sources described dating over 40 like thrift shopping. You find a few gems, a lot of stuff you would never take home, and every now and then you find a mystery stain you just can't unsee.
Huh, too real.
So for all you brave souls out there ready to sift through the racks of pre-loved romance, we are here to help you survive this wild ride with knowledge, humor, and maybe a little therapy.
Think of us as your snarky dating survival guides.
Exactly. We're going to tackle the big questions like, what are the absolute do's and don'ts of dating over 40? Because let's be honest, the rules have changed since we were in our 20s.
Yeah, for starters, lying about your age is a lot harder when you actually remember the 80s.
Nobody wants to see your high school yearbook photos anymore.
And then there's online dating, which is like navigating a minefield full of catfish escape artists and people who think their prison stint is a charming icebreaker.
That brings up a good point about online personas.
Oh, let me guess. Posting pics from when I still had hair is a no-no.
Well, honesty is always the best policy. But what's really interesting is the psychology behind why people create these elaborate online facades.
So it's not just vanity then?
Not always. It can be a way of coping with societal pressures, especially around aging and attractiveness.
Okay, so that guy with the six-pack abs in every photo, who claims to be a millionaire CEO, probably not the real deal.
Let's just say a healthy dose of skepticism is always a good idea.
Good to know. So how do I spot these digital doppelgangers before I get catfished?
Look for inconsistencies in their stories, overly polished profiles. And if their profile picture looks like it belongs in a museum, swipe left.
Got it. No museum-worthy profile pics.
Or guys who pose with tigers.
Unless they're an actual zookeeper, that's a hard pass.
Exactly. Trust your gut, and if something feels off, it probably is.
And if their list of deal breakers is longer than a CVS receipt run.
So true. It's like I'm looking for a date, not filling out a job application.
Right. Dating should be about finding someone who likes you for you, not some version of you that you fabricated online.
Okay, so no lying about my age, no borrowing six-pack abs for my pics,
Yeah.
and definitely no must-love taxidermy on my deal breakers list.
Yeah.
What else do I need to know to survive this online jungle?
Well, you need to be prepared for those red flags, those subtle signs that scream, run, run for the hills.
Ooh, red flags. This is my favorite part.
Because nothing says romance like a giant flashing warning sign.
Especially one that comes with a creepy clown costume.
Wait, people actually show up on dates dressed as clowns.
How? You'd be surprised. Some people will do anything to stand out, or maybe they just really love scaring children.
I'm starting to think dating over 40 might require more than just wine and therapy. I might need a full suit of armor and a team of ninjas.
Maybe not ninjas, but a healthy dose of skepticism and a strong sense of self-worth are definitely essential.
Well, if those ninjas are busy, I guess wine and a good therapist will have to do.
And remember, you're not alone in this. Millions of people over 40 are navigating this wild world of dating with all its hilarious pitfalls and awkward encounters.
So it's like a giant support group
Yeah.
where everyone's crying into their wine and swiping left on clowns.
Sounds like a party to me.
We have a lot more ground to cover, including some truly unbelievable horror stories.
Hold on to your dating apps, folks. It's about to get real.
But for now, we need to take a quick break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more tales from the trenches.
Okay, so let's jump back into the dating pool. armed with our newfound knowledge and a healthy dose of skepticism.
We're ready to face those dating demons.
Yeah, bring on the horror stories.
I'm grabbing another glass of wine.
Let's start with the classic blind date. Because nothing says romance like meeting a complete stranger in a dimly lit restaurant and hoping they're not a serial killer.
Well, statistically speaking, the chances of meeting a serial killer on a blind date are pretty slim.
Okay, that's good to know. But what about the chances of meeting someone who shows up drunk, wearing a shirt that says, "I'm with stupid," and proceeds to tell you their entire life story, including that time they got arrested for skinny dipping?
Oh, been there, done that.
See, this is what I'm talking about. Blind dates can be a disaster waiting to happen. Why are they so notoriously bad?
Well, I think part of it is the pressure of the unknown. Meeting someone with zero context, you're basically relying on the judgment of whoever set you up.
Which is not always the best. One of our sources told a story about a woman who went on a blind date set up by her coworker. The guy showed up in a full suit of armor.
Was he on his way to a Renaissance fair?
Nope, he claimed it was his date night armor, designed to protect his heart from getting broken. She ended up hiding in the bathroom and calling an Uber.
That's one way to escape.
Okay, so blind dates, not always a good idea. But what about meeting people organically? Out in the wild.
Well, meeting someone at a bar or a social event can take some of the pressure off, but it also has its own challenges.
Like trying to have a conversation over blaring music and screaming children.
Well, for one, it's hard to figure out people's intentions. Are they actually interested in me or just looking for a hookup?
Right. And then there's the alcohol factor,
Right.
which can lower inhibitions, which can be fun, but it can also lead to some bad decisions.
Like singing karaoke.
Or texting your ex.
Or accidentally revealing your secret identity as a superhero.
It's important to remember that alcohol can make you do things you wouldn't normally do. So it's best to pace yourself and stay aware of your surroundings.
Okay, so blind dates are risky. Meeting people at bars is a mixed bag. And online dating is a minefield. Is there any hope for us over 40 folks? Should we just resign ourselves to a life of solitude in a house full of cats?
Not necessarily. Dating over 40 does have its advantages.
Like what? Lower expectations. A higher tolerance for dad jokes.
Well, those are definitely perks,
Yeah.
but more importantly, people over 40 tend to have a better sense of self-awareness. They know what they want, what they don't want, and they're less likely to settle.
That's true. I've definitely learned a lot about myself and what I'm looking for in a partner over the years.
Exactly. And that self-knowledge is really valuable in the dating world. It helps you set boundaries, communicate your needs, and navigate those tricky red flags.
Speaking of red flags, let's talk more about those. The more we know, the better equipped we'll be to avoid them,
We're like your red flag radar scanning for signs of trouble.
helping you dodge those bullets like a pro.
Exactly. Today, we're going to focus on one of the most common and perplexing red flags, the escape artist.
Ah, yes. The master of disappearing acts.
The person who excuses themselves to the bathroom and then vanishes into thin air, leaving you with the bill and a bruised ego.
That's a classic example of avoidant behavior. They might not have the maturity to communicate their disinterest directly, so they choose the easy way out.
Well, maybe they really did have to go to the bathroom and got lost on the way back.
It's possible, but I wouldn't bet on it.
We read a story about a woman who went on a date with a guy who seemed totally normal. Until a bill came, he suddenly remembered he left his wallet at his office, which was conveniently across town.
Of course it was.
She ended up paying for his expensive steak and organic salad, while he promised to Venmo her later.
Did he?
Spoiler alert,
Ah.
he did not. And to add insult to injury, he blocked her number.
Ouch. That's a tough lesson in setting boundaries and recognizing disrespect.
Right. If someone's willing to ditch you on a first date and leave you with the bill, imagine what they'd be like in a relationship.
Probably still forgetting their wallet and disappearing whenever it's their turn to do the dishes.
And blaming it on a sudden urge to join the circus.
Okay, so we've covered the escape artist. What other red flags should we watch out for?
Well, there's the oversharer, the person who spills their guts on the first date, revealing all their deepest secrets, childhood traumas. And that time they accidentally dyed their neighbor's poodle pink.
Wait, what? Who dyes a poodle pink? Accidentally or on purpose?
It's just an example, but it shows how some people overshare to try to create a sense of intimacy.
Or maybe they just really hate poodles.
Maybe. But the point is, be careful of people who reveal too much too soon. It can be a sign of poor boundaries or a need for constant validation.
And probably a good idea to avoid anyone who's a little too comfortable with canine dye jobs.
Definitely a red flag.
So we've got the escape artist, the oversharer. Who else is hiding in the dating world, waiting to break our hearts?
Let's not forget the braggart. The person who can't stop talking about themselves, their accomplishments, their possessions, and their impressive collection of participation trophies from childhood.
Oh yeah, the me, myself, and I show. We all know that person.
The one who brings their own spotlight to the date, just in case the restaurant lighting isn't good enough.
Exactly. They're constantly name-dropping, humble bragging, and subtly, or not so subtly, letting you know how amazing they are.
They're basically a walking, talking Instagram filter, trying to make their life seem perfect and enviable.
Why do they do it, though? What's the psychology behind all that self-promotion?
It often comes from insecurity. They might feel the need to constantly prove their worth or seek validation to hide their own doubts.
So basically, they're overcompensating for their fear that they're actually boring.
You could say that, but the important thing is to remember that real confidence comes from within, not from bragging about your job title or your expensive car.
So if someone spends the entire date talking about themselves, should I just excuse myself to the bathroom and make a run for it?
You could try to steer the conversation towards them, ask them about their interests. If they're genuinely interested in connecting, they'll reciprocate.
And if they just keep talking about themselves,
But then you have my permission to fake a sudden illness and make a quick exit.
I'm adding emergency escape route to my dating checklist, right next to pepper spray and breath mints.
Okay, so we've covered the escape artist, the oversharer, and the braggart. What other red flags should we be looking out for?
Well, there's the ghost of relationships past. The person who can't seem to let go of their ex.
Ah, yes. The X-Files. Every date turns into a therapy session, where you're forced to listen to endless stories about heartbreak, betrayal, and revenge fantasies.
And you end up feeling like you need therapy yourself.
Seriously, why do some people insist on bringing their exes into every conversation? Is it some kind of emotional baggage they can't leave behind?
It could be a sign that they haven't fully moved on from their past relationship, and they might still have unresolved feelings, anger, resentment, or even some lingering attachment.
So if someone starts trash-talking their ex on a first date, that's a big red flag.
Absolutely. It suggests they're not ready for a new relationship.
And if they start comparing you to their ex, that's even worse.
Right.
Definitely.
It's disrespectful and shows that they're stuck in the past.
Okay, so let's recap. We've got the escape artist, the oversharer, the braggart, and the ghost of relationships past. That's quite a lineup.
And we're not done yet.
There's more.
Oh yeah, there's more. The dating world is full of red flags, and we've only just scratched the surface.
But don't worry, we'll be back to talk about even more dating disasters, armed with our wisdom and maybe a few therapist recommendations.
Okay, dating warriors. We're back for the final round of our deep dive into the crazy world of dating over 40.
Get ready for more dating disasters.
Yeah, this is where it gets really wild.
So we've talked about the escape artists, the oversharers, the braggarts, and the ghosts of relationships past. But let's not forget about the control freaks. Those lovely people who want to control everything about you, starting with what you order on a first date.
Ah, yes. The ones who see a first date as an opportunity to micromanage, not to get to know someone.
Right, like they're trying to be your life coach without asking.
And their idea of coaching is basically criticism and backhanded compliments.
Like, oh, you ordered the pasta. Interesting. I thought carbs were bad, but, whatever.
Ugh, the passive-aggressive guilt trip. So how do we spot these control freaks before they try to take over our lives?
Look for subtle signs of dominance, like insisting on choosing the restaurant, ordering your food without asking, and constantly judging your choices, from your clothes to your music.
Basically, if they make you feel like you're auditioning for the role of their obedient puppy, run.
And maybe get some noise-canceling headphones to block out their constant commentary.
So control freaks check. What other red flags should we add to our dating survival kit?
Let's not forget the Peter Pans, those forever young souls who refuse to grow up.
The guys who still live with their parents spend all their time playing video games and think responsibility is a made-up word.
Their ideal date is probably pizza in their mom's basement, followed by a Mario Kart tournament.
Right. And their idea of a relationship involves you doing their laundry and keeping them stocked with snacks.
You need to look for signs of maturity. Do they have a job? Can they handle their finances? Do they have any goals besides beating their high score on Candy Crush?
So if their mom still wakes them up for work, that's a red flag.
It's not a great sign.
Okay, Peter Pan's noted. Any other dating personalities we should watch out for?
We also have the drama queens, or kings, those masters of melodrama who thrive on chaos.
The ones who always have some kind of crisis going on, whether it's a fight with their barista, a conspiracy theory about their neighbor's cat, or a dramatic retelling of their trip to the grocery store.
And every story is told like it's Shakespeare.
Complete with sighs, tears, and maybe even fainting.
Why are they like that? Are they just attention seekers?
It could be a few things. Some people like drama because it makes them feel important. Others might have deeper emotional issues.
So if every conversation feels like a soap opera, that's a red flag.
Be careful. A little drama can be fun, but it gets old fast.
Okay, so control freaks, Peter Pans, drama queens, and kings. Anyone else we need to add to our dating blacklist?
Don't forget about the conspiracy theorists. They see a hidden agenda behind everything.
The ones who spend all their time researching chemtrails, alien abductions, and the Illuminati's plan to control the world through pop music.
Their perfect date is watching documentaries about Bigfoot and arguing about whether the moon landing was real.
Right, and they're always trying to convert you to their beliefs.
It's tough to have a normal conversation with someone who's deep into conspiracy theories. They don't listen to reason.
So if they start talking about lizard people on a first date, I should just make a run for it.
Probably a good idea. You don't have to put up with that.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground today. Exploring the ups and downs of dating over 40. We've met escape artists, oversharers, braggarts, ghosts of relationships, past control freaks, Peter Pans, drama queens and kings, and conspiracy theorists. It's enough to make anyone want to give up on dating.
Maybe we should all just get a bunch of cats and call it a day.
And a really good therapist.
Don't lose hope just yet. There's still light at the end of the tunnel.
Exactly. Dating over 40 can be tough, but it can also be amazing.
You get to meet people who understand you, who share your values, and who get your jokes.
And who appreciate your wisdom and your vinyl collection.
So don't give up. Go out there with your red flag radar.
Yeah.
Your skepticism and your determination to find someone special.
And remember, even those dating disasters can teach you something.
You learn about yourself, what you want, and what you definitely don't want.
And you get some good stories to tell.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more dating adventures and expert advice. Until next time, stay fabulous.